What's up guys, thanks for tuning in on today's custom car review. I'm Gabe, and today we're going to be taking a look at this 2017 Mercedes-Benz AMG C63 Edition 1. What a mouthful of a name, but this is definitely a mouthful of a car. In this review, we're going to go over some of the performance characteristics, as well as some of the exterior and interior components, and then we're going to take it out for a drive to get some perspective, and of course, just to see how it drives overall. At the heart of this Edition 1 C63 will have a 4-liter bi-turbo V8 engine that pushes out around 503 crank horsepower and about 517 pound-feet of torque. But before I continue or speak any other words, let's go ahead and get an exhaust clip of that bi-turbo V8 sound. Gonna go ahead and open up the valves in the race mode. The moment that you put it on race mode and you open up the valves, it just sounds so aggressive, and the idle, it just sounds like a purring lion or a puma. Now, since we're on the topic of the engine, I have to say that the C63 has to have one of the nicest presentations from the factory of the entire engine layout. The turbos are clearly displayed in like a V-shaped form in the center, and of course, not only does that look really cool, but it also helps improve the turbo lag. Of course, we'll go into that later as we drive the car. The engine is attached to a 7-speed MCT transmission. Together with that transmission, and of course the very potent 4-liter V8 bi-turbo, you'll probably be seeing around 4 to 3.9 seconds 0 to 60 time. Not sure if we're going to be able to hit those numbers today, but it's really cool that it's advertised as a 4-second flat car. Now, of course, that engine and that transmission is delivering all that power to a rear-wheel drive limited slip differential from AMG. That active differential obviously corrects a lot of the problems that many car enthusiasts and auto drivers face when driving these cars under a lot more pressure, like understeering, oversteering. This car also has carbon ceramic brakes up front that really deliver that best and most optimal braking capacity, and of course longevity as well. So now we talk a little bit about the performance characteristics of this car. We're going to take a moment to appreciate the exterior components of this car. Of course, this is easily distinguishable from the regular C63 Coupe by that really nice matte gray selenite magno color. Again, very strong, powerful name, just like the engine right underneath it. You'll notice that this also has yellow accents around, specific to the Edition 1. You'll have a racing yellow stripe that goes along the hood all the way to the back portion of the trunk. You'll also see them on these 19-inch rims up front and in the back as well. You also see that the yellow accents are on the side view mirrors. The carbon ceramic brakes have it as well. I mean, overall, this is just such an aggressive color combination that just looks absolutely perfect and very specific and very unique. The front of the car is just as aggressive. You'll notice that this has very aggressive aero kit up front. You know, the lip extension looks awesome. I could make do without the chrome, you know, silver piece here. I think that's one of the first things that I would probably black out or perhaps gray out. I really like how it has like these air ducts down here that really channel the air and cool off the engine and just overall provide cooling and aerodynamics to the car. One of the really cool things about the W205, like the newer generation of the C63s, is that it has like these very nice LED lights with the strip. During the day, they look absolutely aggressive, and at the same time very luxurious as well. The profile of the car is absolutely stunning, just like the front of the car. Very sport oriented. Of course, this is the Coupe, so naturally it's going to be a little bit more sportier. You'll just see that it has a wonderful line and form, and of course you'll get an even better glimpse of the actual yellow accents. Now, if we make our way towards the back of the car, I think the back is probably my favorite part of the C63 Edition 1. Not only does it have the continuation of the yellow stripe, but you'll also have this spoiler in the back here, provides extra downforce as well. Just again, little sporty touches that really make an improvement to the exterior look and of course the performance, you'll see that it has the iconic square exhaust tips in a quad format. Very, very Black Series vibe. I absolutely love the square tips on the Black Series, and of course this does it just as well. I'm personally more a fan of the oval exhaust like the C63s from the previous gen, non-Black Series, but you know, to each their own. And of course the taillights, like the headlights, are gorgeous. They're very luxurious looking, but at the same time offer a little bit of a sporty feel as well. Again, guys, just very impressive design overall. The Edition 1 for me is basically spec'd out exactly how I would spec out a car. Matte gray with yellow accents. The interior design is just so impressive. This car not only blends a lot of very luxurious components and characteristics, but it also adds a hint of sportiness, and that's very apparent in the Edition 1 C63S. The first thing you'll notice is the very sporty design steering wheel with the Alcantara and of course the yellow stitching, flat bottom steering wheel with the AMG Edition 1 insignia. Right behind the Alcantara and the yellow stitching, you'll find these shifters that sound amazing. Very nice feel, not really plasticky or cheap sound. They have a really nice feedback to it. We'll go over it as we drive in the review. Now, of course, the tachometer and speedometer also have like that yellow, grayish, black color combination as well. Those little tiny features that just, you know, bring out the sportiness and the consistency with the car. I'm also a huge fan of the center consoles on these C classes or of these generation of Mercedes, especially one like this that has like this dry carbon fiber weave look. Awesome design. I honestly cannot express how impressed I am with the seat design. They just look so sporty, and the fact that they're diamond stitched, yellow stitching to match like that black grayish color combo, it's just no words. It just looks so good, so sporty, and again, very luxurious. This is the type of designs that you'll find on really expensive cars like Bentleys and whatnot. The holsters are so tight, which is going to be really interesting to see how it performs as we drive. Now, spacing in the car is pretty much like any other coupe. The back seats are going to be pretty much impossible to use if you're over 5'6". Now, of course, you do have a lot of options for seating positions and whatnot, but typically this is more comfortable for just a pack of two. All right, guys, so now that we've talked a little bit about the performance characteristics and of course some of the interior and exterior characteristics, I think it's time to now take this car for a drive. So let's get this bad boy on the road. So for the purpose of this video, we're gonna drive mostly on race and sport plus mode. That's of course one of the, well, two of the four different options that you have for driving capacities. I think the first thing that we want to do right now is give it a little launch control. See if we can nail that 4-second flat 0 to 60. So launch control is going to be activated by putting it in race mode. Click both of the paddle shifters at the same time. Confirm it by hitting up, hit the brake and accelerate and let go. Whoa. Oh my gosh. There you go. It kind of corrected itself just a little bit, which is again an emphasis on just how good and how technologically advanced the suspension is. I mean, again, this is going to help you and save you from yourself. One thing that I initially felt when I started driving the car a little bit was just how stiff this car is. Like, it's really stiff. I mean, you feel almost everything. I can pretty much say comfortably that on race mode, this feels somewhat very similar to the GT3. One thing that I also noticed that I have to make a note of is just how aggressive the pops are when you, of course, upshift and downshift. So, of course, on the downshift, you have that nice growl. and a very, very nice pop on the upshifts. Using the 7-speed MCT with the manual format, extremely fast. Leave it up to the computer and of course you can't go wrong. The shifts are pretty much a lot faster and more responsive than if you do the manual mode, but it's not as fun, let's be honest. It's fun to downshift like the Germans. And of course get the nice backfire. I will definitely say that it is not as fast as the PDK, and of course not as fast as the DCT transmission on the M3 that I reviewed. So we're gonna leave it now on comfort mode, and we're gonna test out how it drives, I guess, under normal scenario, because you know you're not gonna be driving super aggressively and sporty all the time. And right off the bat, it doesn't make a difference. The suspension is not as forgiving as I thought it would be. We live in a huge metropolitan area where you have a lot of construction going on all the time, and you have a lot of imperfect roads. So this car, I'll be honest, doesn't really score very high for me when it comes to the comfort, especially when you're on comfort mode. You can tell that the exhaust, it's not nearly as loud on comfort mode. And of course you can always adjust certain settings with the individual mode. You can of course make the exhaust louder, but the suspension not as stiff, which really doesn't make a difference because this car still feels extremely stiff. At lower RPMs, I love how the V8 sounds, and of course when you're really giving it gas, it's like a roar, and it just sounds so good. Something that you just won't get in the competition like the M4 and the RS5. You know, in my opinion, the C63 is really the best one of the bunch. It sounds a lot better, it's a lot faster from the factory, and in my opinion, it looks a lot better. Oh my gosh, man, this thing just lets loose. I don't want to go home. I don't want to go home. This is so much fun to drive, guys. All right, so in terms of turbo lag, which is something that is obviously of hot topic with these forced induction cars, it's not that bad. I'll be very honest. You just got to know what RPM to launch at. Typically, well, the ones that I've noticed is you really want to give it gas around 4,000, 4,500. That's where you feel a lot of that, like that instant power. Something that is, of course, possible by that twin turbo setup. All right, guys, so we are now back at the original spot, and I think now would be a perfect time to conclude this review. What an impressive car. Honestly, this is not only a beautifully presented car on the exterior and on the interior, but the driving experience was just as impressive and as fun and exciting. If you guys found this video informative and somewhat entertaining, go ahead and give it a like. It helps out so much with the algorithm. If you guys enjoy my content overall, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, and don't forget to hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of my reviews, my vlogs, my how-tos, etc., etc. Guys, thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you next time.